Hello everyone, this is Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw, and it's Monday morning. You know what that means. It's time for a tier list. Oh yeah, I kind of remember you saying that. See, and I did it twice. This is time number 2. I like that you're doing this. I think this one might make some people upset. Ooh. Today I'm here with a tier list. My thought process today is I am going to tell you about the Pokemon that are viable in the high level play. That is today's tier list. The master rank-ish tier list. High Ultra, master rank level Pokemon. Some of this will shock you to your very core. Some of this will not be surprising at all. I'm going to make a separate tier list for non-ranked play as well as climbing the ranks because it's pretty different. But once you get into the high ranks, I think there are some things that right now are unavoidable. Also, I have a feeling Blastoise is coming very, very soon. With Blastoise, there's going to be some nerfs and some balance changes. We will see what happens inside the game. But let's talk about this tier list for very high-ranked play. Join me, won't you? All right, here we are with this tier list. We can take a look at my tiers. We have the no tier, B tier, A tier, S tier, and God tier. As you're all aware, there can only be one God, okay? We're not friggin' Norse over here. We can't have a God for the moon who's a wolf. So we need to decide who is God tier, S tier, A tier, B tier, and who should not be picked. Now, I want to point this out. Some of this is just fun, and some of this is just true within the meta of the game right now. Also, again, let's say I take a Pokemon like Charizard, and I tell you he is God tier Pokemon. That doesn't mean that you need to start playing Charizard. That also being said, if I take a Pokemon like Charizard and tell you it is in the no tier, that doesn't mean you need to stop playing Charizard. My whole thought process behind this is just showing you what is happening in the meta, what seems to be viable in high level play, and what seems to be not viable. Stuff like this changes all the time. It's actually one of my favorite parts of MOBAs is that patches come out, balance changes happen. All of a sudden, people go, oh my god, you have to be playing Crustal right now. Crustal's insane. I actually love balance changes. I love patches. I love things getting reworked inside the game. It sucks if your favorite Pokemon gets a big nerf, but it does happen from time to time. So, with all that being said, here is a list, in my opinion. Boy, I'm struggling through this sentence. This list is my opinion, but it's based on a lot of playing this game, some of the highest level play, I guess. I'm definitely not one of the best players in the world, but I can tell you what's happening inside the topped rank matches. Topped rank matches? Top ranked matches. Here we go. Let's start with Absol. Absol is an interesting Pokemon. Absol is a pub stomper. Absol is the kind of Pokemon that you take into lower ranked and non-ranked matches and absolutely destroy with. In high ranked play, I think Absol is not good at all. And the reason Absol is not good is because Absol has to take jungle. Pretty much. Absol has to take jungle, and Absol is not as good as many other options in the jungle, one very specific. Absol early on is really strong, but so much of the game matters in the last, 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes of the game. So I have to say that Absol is in the no tier. I would not want an Absol on my team, and I don't think many high-ranked players would. Now, maybe this will change. Maybe I'm wrong. And maybe Absol's going to start dominating. I just think with how bursty Absol is, around that last fight, it's just not the best Pokemon to have around. Let's talk about someone who is great to have around. Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales, I think, is a very, very solid Pokemon in high-level play. The Aurora Veil Dazzling Gleam build is really good. I could see you maybe not taking Dazzling Gleam, but Aurora Veil is pretty amazing. Ninetales is a bully. It evolves at level 4 and gets its first ability. It just feels like it dominates its lane really well. Its Aurora Veil helps with team fights. I believe that Alolan Ninetales is an S tier choice. It's It's great on many, many teams. I would have an Alolan Ninetales. Let's go with someone like Snorlax. Snorlax is probably the best defender in Pokemon Unite right now. It is the most common defender you see in top ranked matches. I don't think you can not win without it, but I think his utility with block is so amazing. Heavy Slam's great. His Unite move makes him unkillable. So I do think that Snorlax is almost a must tick. Jake, have a sip of coffee. Get it together. Okay, a must-pick Pokemon. I think Snorlax is an S-tier choice. Almost every team that is crushing it, you see with a Snorlax on there. The only other option, and I'll talk about him now, would be Slowbro. Slowbro, I actually think, is a great defender. Leveling at level 4 and getting Surf is absolutely amazing. Using Telekinesis, if you can use it correctly to grab their carries, I think Slowbro is actually an incredible choice. And this might be controversial. I mean, ranking them together, I know more people are going to pick Snorlax, but I actually think Slowbro is probably an S-tier choice. The only problem is Snorlax is slightly better and block is better, but depending on what the enemy team is going and depending on how good you are with snatching people with that telekinesis and how good you are with Surf, you're able to knock people up multiple times. If you can knock a carry up multiple times, then grab them with your Unite move or grab them with telekinesis, I don't know. I think Slowbro is actually extremely legit, and I think he just unfortunately gets outshined by Snorlax. I can't wait to see what Blastoise does for the meta. I hope Blastoise is just another amazing defender. All right, Cramorant. Oh, Cramorant, I love you so. One of my favorite Pokemon, probably my favorite Pokemon to play in the game is Cramorant. I love playing Cramorant. He's amazing in lane. He's really good in jungle. The only issue is very late, Cramorant falls off a bit, and it's just that he's not able to cast his abilities quickly enough to keep up with some other Pokemon. He's really bursty. Through most of the game, I'd say 75% of the game, Cramorant's a beast, and then the last 20%, Cramorant is pretty good. Decent. And for that reason, I'm going to hover Cramorant into B tier. Again, probably one of my favorite Pokemon, if not my favorite Pokemon to play in the game, but I just think he falls off late. He does. His Unite move's really incredible. It could really help you on the Zapdos fight. The nice thing about Cramorant, if you're crushing it with Cramorant on your team and you're already winning, it's going to be so hard to shut down Cramorant near that late game fight. But right now, even though I love him, I have to say he's B tier. Let's talk about Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime's weird. Because Mr. Mime is God tier. No, Mr. Mime's not our God tier choice. The tough thing about Mr. Mime is I don't know why you'd have Mr. Mime on your team. If you've got a support on your team, and you know what, we can have this conversation with Wigglytuff as well. Mr. Mime, Wigglytuff, and Eldegoss. Mr. Mime, Wigglytuff, and Eldegoss, get in my office now. So here's the problem, guys. All three of you are supports, and only one of you is extremely good. The other two are useful, but not even close. So you get into this weird position, and this happens in any game in a top meta situation. You know, you have to go, well, sure, Wigglytuff is great early in the lane. He's fun for bullying people. And Mr. Mime, you know, if you could set up his walls correctly, he can put you in some incredible positions. But if you're going to have a support on your team, I can't see a world in which right now it is not Eldegoss. I can't wait for whatever supports come out next. I mean, there's actually so many roles that I want to see. I really want to see more attack Pokemon, as crazy as that sounds. I really want to see more support Pokemon because I want to see someone rival Eldegoss. Eldegoss gives you a shield. Eldegoss heals you. Eldegoss... In Pokemon Unite, if you can stay alive for another few hits, if you could have multiple members of your team alive for another few hits, if you can keep your carries alive a little bit longer, it's the difference between winning team fights and not. And because of that, I have to say that Eldegoss is S tier and Mr. Mime and Wigglytuff are both no's. They're no's. In top-ranked play, I think they're no's. I do. A really great coordinated team, I'm not saying it couldn't make anything work. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I would never want a Wigglytuff or Mr. Mime in place of an Eldegoss. Ever. 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 Crustal. Crustal is here, and didn't know where I was going with this sentence. Crustal is here. So Crustal's tough because I think Crustal's a great Pokemon, and there's some really fun utility with Rock Tomb and X-Scissor, but the problem with Crustal is similar to the problem with Mr. Mime and Wigglytuff. I actually don't think he becomes a no, but if I have a Crustal on my team instead of a Snorlax, you know what? I said this this tier list was going to be controversial. It is. I'm putting Crustal in no for the highest ranked play. God, I feel like maybe he's a B. I don't know. Ugh. Because I would just never want him in comparison to the other two. Never. Never, never, never. I don't know. Right now I'm going to put him in B because I honestly, here's the crazy thing. I don't think all these Pokemon are bad that I'm moving around like this. I just can't imagine having them in place of some of these others. Let's talk about Garchomp. Garchomp is one of the Pokemon in the game that is a lot like Absol, an absolute noob stomper. He destroys when people aren't sure what he's doing. When you do know what Garchomp's doing, and he's not in the jungle, I feel like if Garchomp's not in the jungle and he's in lane, good luck, dude. Good luck. In high ranked play, good luck. You are just going to get punished so hard until you become Garchomp. Garchomp actually is one of the Pokemon, strangely enough, who might need a decent buff or a rework in his early moveset and stuff like that. I like the idea behind Garchomp that he's not very useful, still not very useful, and then finally he becomes Garchomp. But even then, in higher ranked play, you know what Garchomp's doing. It's not a mystery what's going to happen. So I have to put him in the no tier. I would not like Garchomp on my team in the highest ranked play. Let's take a look at Gardevoir. Gardevoir is an interesting one. It's a newer Pokemon, and I always wonder when a new character comes out in a MOBA, is it going to be overpowered? Is it going to be underpowered? Different games have different ways of releasing people. I've noticed most MOBAs, when they release new characters, they're a little too good. I've started to conspiratorially believe that that's maybe to do with wanting to get people to pick up the new characters and play with them a bit, and then they'll nerf them in about a week. Like, oh yeah, sorry, we had no idea. I think that's a little bit out there, but actually, because Gardevoir has been tested for so long, they released Gardevoir and it wasn't crazy overpowered. It was well within the power of the rest of the Pokemon. Well within the power of the rest of the Pokemon. Jeez. These sentences today are poor. They're not great. Gardevoir, I think, is good, not great. That's what I think about Gardevoir in the highest ranked play. So I feel like Gardevoir hangs out in the B tier above our little boy Crustal here. Sorry, Crustal. I think Gardevoir is good. In the right hands, any Pokemon is excellent, of course. Maybe not Garchomp and Absol, just in high tier play. And there's reasons behind this. And you'll see, I think, some of these Pokemon get reworked here. One of the most interesting things, the toughest thing about balancing a game like this is you have a Pokemon like Absol or Garchomp or the Pokemon I'll talk about next. And they are so amazingly good until you become pretty darn good at the game. And then they're actually not very good. So how do you balance that? How do you make the game accessible for new players who don't just want to get stomped in early game matches? And how do you make the game balanced for players who are very good? Let's talk about Gengar. Let's talk about Gengar. I might want to move Gardevoir to A tier. I actually think Gardevoir is pretty good. Gardevoir right now for me is hovering between B and A. I think it still might be B. I'll think about it as this guide goes on, as this tier list goes on. I made too many guides. Okay, Gengar is interesting. In lower ranked play, most of the way through ranking up, and in unranked play, Gengar is a god tier Pokemon. Gengar is the best Pokemon ever. It destroys everyone. It gets 50 kills a match. It's too good. It's too good until you know what Gengar's doing. And then once you know what Gengar's doing, and you can avoid one move, you just literally have to avoid one move with Gengar, it becomes a really weak slot on the team. So, where do you put Gengar? All right, here we go. I said this was going to be controversial, but Gengar is a no. I think... This is tough. This is really tough. Here's the really unfortunate part. Maybe Gengar's a B, actually. Here's the really unfortunate part about Gengar, is that high-level play, you're not going to get caught by Gengar. Almost ever. From time to time, you will. From time to time, you're going to get caught by Gengar. But for the most part, Gengar is not going to be able to do what Gengar needs to do. He's not going to be able to get to the back line. He's not going to be able to stop the big, carry back there. And because of that, he's going to miss his Sludge Bomb or his Hex. I don't know. Part of me thinks Gengar is a no tier on the highest ranked play. Part of me thinks he's no. And then part of me thinks, you could still do well with him. The thing about Gengar is, even if you're an amazing player, if he happens to catch you, you're like, dang it, he caught me. So maybe he's B. I'm thinking of putting him in no. And the more I play in the higher ranked, the less speedsters I see. I don't really see many speedsters at all. They're not that useful later in the game, and so much of the game is decided later in the game. And especially, you've got someone like Gengar taking a jungle slot. Maybe if Gengar plays lane and replaces someone like Alolan Ninetales, I wouldn't love that, or something like that, or replaces someone like, a Lucario, Machamp or something, and then you still have someone else go jungle. It's not impossible, but where the game's at right now, I almost think that Gengar goes into no tier. I'm still highly considering putting him in the no tier. But again, this is only for the top plays in the game, the best matchups in the game. Greninja. What do you do with Greninja? It's tough because, this A tier is becoming real lonely. It's getting real lonely in the A tier. I might even move Slowbro into it just so Slowbro has something to do. Oh, Greninja, what do we do with you? Greninja is good, but Greninja's outclassed. I think Greninja's B. I kind of don't want Greninja on the team sometimes, but I think Greninja's B. I think Greninja hangs out in the B tier with all these other ones. I might be moving Gardevoir up to A right now. I might screw around and move Gardevoir up to A. I'm not sure about it. Let me do a few more Pokemon and then I'll decide what I do. Because right now, I've created a useless tier, and that is my A tier. Before I made this video, I was thinking about it. I was putting all the Pokemon in the slots, and now that I'm realizing it, the tough thing about the game, considering that the pool of Pokemon is relatively small and some Pokemon outshine the others so hard, A tier might not be that useful. There might just be God tier Pokemon that you probably should pick every game, and then Pokemon that are kind of good in the right hands. All right, Greninja. I like you, Greninja. I just feel like you're outclassed. You're outclassed by multiple Pokemon here. Let's talk about Lucario. Lucario is, I think, not only good, he's great. I think Lucario is great. I think Lucario is S tier. For an all-rounder, I think Lucario is pretty freaking amazing. Depending on how you play, I think Lucario... Let's talk about Lucario and Machamp at the same time, actually. So Lucario and Machamp, I think, are both really, really great. Once Machamp gets submission, he's pretty dope. Lucario is good all the time. It's so hard to deal with Lucario. Both of them, similar to a lot of all-rounders, they kind of fall off late game, except for Garchomp, who kind of turns on when he becomes Garchomp. But, you know, if I'm putting a team together, I would love to have Lucario or Machamp on it. In that way, I kind of think they're both S-tier choices. I can't wait for A-tier to be a tier that doesn't exist in this entire video. It might not. I'm going to have to make some decisions here. And here are my decisions. I think Slowbro is going to move down to A-tier because Snorlax is just another defender that's better. And I think... No, I'm keeping Gardevoir in B. I'm not changing it. But I am going to have Lucario and Machamp both in S tier. As all-rounders, I think they're both incredible choices. Both can do okay in the jungle, but that's not where you're going to put them, I don't think. I think they're going to be in lane, probably bot lane, and I think they'll both do well in that lane. They're really good at helping you deal with the carry Pokemon. What's the carry Pokemon? Cinderace. Cinderace is interesting. The reason I say I want to see more attackers in Pokemon Unite, specifically attackers kind of like Cinderace, is Cinderace feels unique New York. Unique Cinderace. Cinderace feels uniquely qualified to destroy everyone as that basic attack damage carry. Cinderace is God tier. Cinderace is the best Pokemon in the game. If you don't have a Cinderace on your team, pick Cinderace. I don't know what to say. You know, as I was climbing up to the master rank, I was doing almost completely solo queue. I had some people that I would play with a little bit, usually one person. I don't think I ever had more than one that I would match with. And as I was climbing up, I just noticed that if your team doesn't have a Cinderace, you are dead in the water. I think Cinderace is so good. I think Cinderace is the best Pokemon, the most important Pokemon. They need other attackers that can do the role of Cinderace. I don't even think Cinderace necessarily needs a nerf because you need Pokemon like this in the game. You could nerf him a little bit, but I think what you actually need is you need other attacker Pokemon that fill a similar slot as Cinderace. I would like to see it, but right now, Cinderace is the best. You need Cinderace. You need him in the highest level play. No one can output the kind of damage he does. And, you know, it would be nice if Gengar could jump on Cinderace. If you are a Gengar and you can take out their Cinderace every time, then all of a sudden your Gengar becomes the most important Pokemon. But when you're looking at Cinderace, I feel like you're taking him out with people like Lucario, Machamp. It's a team effort, but Lucario and Machamp are really good at helping get rid of someone like Cinderace. You can kind of do it, you know, sometimes long range with like Cramorant or especially the long range of Gardevoir. But really in team fight situations, your entire job is getting rid of Cinderace. Get rid of Cinderace and then you can move on. Move on from getting rid of Cinderace, and your job as a team, keep Cinderace alive so Cinderace can keep picking people off. Cinderace is the best Pokemon in the game, hands down. The most important Pokemon in the game, hands down. Venusaur. Venusaur, I love you. Venusaur doesn't factor into the meta well at all in high-level play right now. I think climbing the ranks, you can do well with Venusaur, and Venusaur, it's weird. It's like they need to make Venusaur either tankier or stronger with its abilities, and I think Venusaur will be getting a buff. For all my Venusaur mains out there, I think we will definitely see a Venusaur buff, and Venusaur does need to be buffed. But right now, Venusaur is a no tier in the highest level play. When I see a Venusaur on the team, I just think, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. Here's another one, Talonflame. Funny enough, so it's not... Okay. The match that I made it into Masters with, I was paired with a Talonflame. In fact... Nobody picked... Someone was Cinderace. They hovered Cinderace the whole time. The last second, they switched off Cinderace, and I rushed over and grabbed Cinderace. It was you need a Cinderace. We had a Talonflame in the jungle, and I thought this is going to be terrible. And almost always it is terrible. Talonflame, the way it works right now, it's just nothing compared to the other people who could be in the jungle. One of them being Cinderace. Most of the time you see Cinderace in the jungle because the more fed your Cinderace is, the easier this game is going to be to win. All that to say, I think you can have any combination. If you're excellent at this game and you're excellent at your role, you can still win. That being said, Talonflame needs a buff. They need to help fix Talonflame, and Talonflame is a no right now. Talonflame is not a high-level play Pokemon. It just is not. Pikachu. Pikachu, I think, is one of the most underrated Pokemon in the game. I started playing Pikachu. It was the first Pokemon I chose after the beta. In the beta, I was playing a lot of Greninja in the beta. I was playing, who else did I have a lot of fun with in the beta? I was playing Greninja. I was actually playing a little Gengar in the beta, and I thought, people are rating this maybe a little low. Oh, I was playing Lucario. I had no idea what to do. It was all in Japanese, and I wasn't sure how things were working. So, but I played a lot of Greninja, Ninetales. I was playing a lot of Ninetales, Snorlax. Pikachu, I didn't start playing until the game fully released on Switch. And I gotta tell you, people are sleeping on Pikachu. Pikachu is so brutal in lane and so brutal for, similar to Cramorant, probably 75-80% of the game. Pikachu can also jungle extremely well. When we have this weird wonky comp, as you're climbing the ranks, sometimes you'll just have this bizarre comp and no one's in the jungle. And you already have a Cinderace. It's just confusing what's happening. I've taken Pikachu into the jungle with wonderful results. Pikachu clears the jungle really, really fast. Pikachu gets amazing ganks. The Electro Ball that you throw at Pokemon, they can't really avoid it. It homes in on them. It does more damage the lower their health is. It's just, I think Pikachu is severely underrated. I think Pikachu is an A-tier Pokemon. I know that this is all personal preference, so I can see someone saying, could you imagine a world where Gardevoir is B and Pikachu's A? But that's what I think right now. I think Pikachu is actually severely underrated. Zeraora. Zeraora is another tough one, and you're seeing a bit of a theme here, and the theme is that I think speedsters are actually not super great in high-level play right now. Zeraora, because, okay, most people put Cinderace in the jungle, so Cinderace can get fed. So where do you put Zeraora? In lane? Where do you put Gengar? In lane? They don't really do as well in lane. Okay, so you don't put them in lane. You put your Cinderace in lane. Who do I want at the end of the game having more experience? Zeraora or Gengar or Cinderace? And the answer, of course, is Cinderace, which is why Cinderace spends so much time in the jungle. Zera is not bad, and the nice thing is, if you see a Cinderace in the jungle on the opposing team, I think you could take Zeraora and actually counter jungle pretty well. So, as you know, the meta around this game develops, right now Cinderace is in the jungle. But now that everyone knows that Cinderace is in the jungle, someone is going to be put in the jungle to counter Cinderace. There's going to be counter gameplay that emerges. So all the best teams put Cinderace in the jungle, and then all the best teams realize that all the best teams put Cinderace in the jungle, and then they start to counter that. So we will see what that turns into. But right now, I really think Gengar and Zeraora, while not being bad Pokemon, I almost want to put them in no tier. I want to put every speedster almost in no tier, because when I see the top level play, I don't want those Pokemon in the jungle. I would rather have Pokemon like Cinderace in the jungle. I would. But all the way up to Master, both of these Pokemon are totally legit. However, in Master, they almost kind of teeter into the no category. Every speedster does. And it's kind of a problem with the role right now. Charizard. Our final Pokemon is Charizard. Charizard is really interesting because it got a slight nerf, but it was just because the item, the muscle band, was kind of, I guess it was happening too much during Charizard's basic attack. So Charizard gets a slight nerf, but I think Charizard needs a slight buff. Charizard is a weird pick because it's kind of the Pokemon who could actually deal with some carry Pokemon. When its Unite move is on, it can fly around. It can just get anywhere. So you could actually kind of have Charizard deal with your Pikachus, Gardevoirs, Cramorants, Greninjas, Gengars, Zeraoras, and Alolan Ninetales and Cinderaces. Charizard is the Pokemon that could do that, but it's still a little too squishy at times. So I see Charizard pop its Unite move, and I still go, yeah, but we could take it down just with a few good kicks from a Cinderace. So that's kind of the problem with Charizard right now. I want Charizard to be in the no category, but I almost think Charizard's B. And I think more time needs to be spent with Charizard right now because Charizard could be one of the Pokemon to take out the carries. I really think so, but unfortunately, it's just not strong enough yet. I don't know. I think we're going to see some nerfs and we're going to see some buffs coming out soon. I'd actually like to make a video talking about what I think is going to be nerfed, what I think is going to be buffed. And I'm really curious to see when Blastoise drops because I think Blastoise is coming very, very soon. My thought process being the game is brand new. I think this is when most people are going to be playing it until it then drops on mobile. So I think they're going to want to try to get as much out of the player base money-wise and excitement-wise while the most people are checking out this game. So I think we might see a Blastoise announcement this week. We'll see. It could be next week, but it's definitely coming very, very soon. That's my opinion. So I would put Charizard here in B. And I think once we get a rework of some of these Pokemon, not a full rework because that's not going to happen. Maybe for Gengar, they'll do something like that. We're going to see some nerfs. We're going to see some buffs. But right now in the Master rank and climbing into the high Ultras, I think these are the Pokemon that you're going to want to play with. Cinderace is an absolute must. Alolan Ninetales, Snorlax, Eldegoss, Lucario, Machamp, incredible. I think Slowbro and Pikachu are also pretty amazing. Gardevoir teeters into A category for me. If you're amazing with Gardevoir, yes, but Gardevoir has such a long time until it becomes good. It's really, really tough. And Pokemon like Pikachu and Slowbro are good so early. The rest of B tier, I want more from these Pokemon. I would love to see these Pokemon more, but in the higher ranked plays, I just don't think they're that incredible. A lot of them like teeter into the no category. And unfortunately, all these Pokemon here, I know people could argue with me about Mr. Mime. I mean, people are going to probably argue with me about Gengar, Zeraora, but I'm telling you, in the top play, you don't need these Pokemon right now. Just with how the game is set up, they're not that beneficial. In the last team fight of the game, I don't want Gengar there. If I could have had any of these Pokemon in its place, really any of these Pokemon in its place, the S tier, maybe even against Slowbro. Pikachu is just kind of my personal favorite moving into the A tier. So yeah, there you go. I think that is the Master high rank play level tier list. And just for fun, let's move some of this around because I did this on another video and, I had people come in and be like, I really don't think that this Pokemon is the best. I'll say, put you here, put Alolan Ninetales and never pick, and put, this kind of looks like a list that might be somewhat, yeah. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed my tier list. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm going to make another tier list very soon with what it looks like in lower ranked play, unranked play, and sort of climbing up through the ranks, like what that looks like, because I think that's actually a very different list. But I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think in the comments. I absolutely welcome discussion around it. I'm not right about everything. I'm just right about everything when it comes to everything I say. Thank you all for watching, listening. Goodbye. Mwah.